When we arrived in Chattanooga, our host Jenny gave us this note. It's a handwritten bus schedule. And this is how many residents get around Chattanooga today. When you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, you start to see that of the 3 million riders every year on Chattanooga buses, 50% make less than $15,000 a year. And this means that it's now hard for them to get to work on time or pick their kids up from school. And suddenly, the inconvenience of a handwritten note is actually an obstacle to economic opportunity. And today, many residents in Chattanooga are using this app to get around in real time. It shows them when their bus will pick them up from their house and when they'll be dropped off at work. And you know what? Many of us have worked with government. Some of us have even been so fortunate to work inside of government. I'd like to ask you, if you were going to replicate this in your municipality, would you give yourself 3 months? Would you give yourself 6 months? Would you ask for $200,000 in budget appropriations? What does that RFP even look like? I'm super excited to tell you that in Chattanooga, we did this in 3 days with no budget and no RFP. And this is what happens when you open your data, you work together, and you rely on standards. It's teamwork, but it's most certainly not magic.
So the foundation of that teamwork in Chattanooga is in our open data policy. And a lot of people think that the strength of that policy lies in the mandates that it spells out, really tough schedules and open data standards. But in reality, the strength of that policy is in the people who are implementing it each and every day in Chattanooga. So we formed an advisory group of IT staff and an open data liaison from every department within City Hall. By taking this approach, we were able to create a small community to be the backbone of open government within City Hall. We invested in a group of mid-level managers who were interested in taking on a really tough project. But I do want to be just totally honest. The open data policy didn't take these budget analysts and turn them into Cape crusading data advocates. It provided leverage for some really, really difficult, tough conversations and empowered champions to take on new causes. And so, like we said, we have this thing called the Chattanooga Way, and it's actually real, and we all talk about it really often, and it's central to this story.
So we worked with CARTA, the transit agency, to get their data in a publishable state. But when you're doing technical things, you're going to need a few technical people. So we reached out to the burgeoning app development community in Chattanooga and brought them into the process. Now, once we had all this data, this beautiful data, clean, sanitized, in a nice format, CARTA could have taken that and written an RFP. They could have paid a small fortune for their own app. But there are already great solutions out there. And when we rely on data standards, we get to take advantage of best-in-breed applications from all over the world. One of these apps is Transit App. It's built by a small team in Montreal. It has millions of users, and it's integrated with the largest cities across the globe.
But more importantly, they work with cities. They have a wonderful wish list that you can get added to, but only once you have your data out in the open. So we registered Chattanooga, and then we put out the bat signal to our brigade to help us raise Chattanooga to #1 on the list. And within 24 hours, Chattanooga had topped big cities like Berlin, and the app developers tweeted to us that they would have no choice but to oblige. So a big thank you to the Chattanooga brigade. And so then 24 hours after this tweet was up, Transit App was live in Chattanooga, and anybody could download it for free to help them navigate the city. So that's day 3 for anybody who's counting. So the day that that app went live was the most excited our team at City Hall has been about an open government project. There were long email chains going back and forth with great quotes like this from our transit director. And by incorporating so many people into the process very early on, people from every department could share in this success. So everybody could really rally around government doing what it does best and trying to help people make their lives a little bit easier.
So this is a true partnership between governments, communities, and companies. You know, it took a nonprofit from San Francisco to send 3 fellows from all across the country to a small town, Chattanooga, Tennessee, to work with app developers from Montreal, Canada, all to ensure that when someone gets on the bus in Chattanooga, they can get from their home in St. Elmo to their work downtown. This is the people I get to work with. This is my fantastic team, Giselle and Jason. I I would like to thank them for their tremendous work this year. But more importantly, we would all like to thank everyone who was so instrumental in making this a tremendous success. But we'd also like to challenge you. We'd like to challenge you to use open data as a pretext for starting difficult conversations. So we put together a small worksheet at opendatagamePlan.com to help you get started. Thank you.